So I made a video talking about the AI robot girlfriend companions. They are just AI robot female sex slaves. That's literally what they are. That's what they're designed for. You can hear it. You can see it. It's not a question.
Except for the part where they're not female because they're not human. And the part where they're not slaves because they're not humans. Other than that, I guess she's right.
It's not a mystery. The thousands upon thousands, tens of thousands of comments in the videos of those robots it is so evident. Anyone that would ever even desire to spend $100,000 on these has one intention in mind, and it's not to have someone to talk to.
Yeah, you damn right. If I spend $100,000 on a product, I better not just have someone to talk to. And that's the same thing for with men in marriage. Men are not signing up for marriages for companionship and to have somebody to talk to. They're doing it for sexual exclusivity. And to be honest, a lot of them ain't even getting that.
And, I said how, and I always say how when I talk about porn addiction, sex addiction, the dehumanization and objectification of women, regardless of whether you are male or female, if you are living with this addiction, you are living in lust. It is something that is always progressing. It is always escalating because lust is insatiable no matter which way you look at it. Whether you want to say porn is an addiction or not, it is insatiable, and you are always going to be searching for the next thing that is going to get you that next level of high that you got from the dopamine, like not literally high, but the dopamine high, because it is such an abusively high level of dopamine that you are not able to get from anywhere else in your life. So when you are receiving it from these very violent, aggressive, dehumanizing, degrading images and videos online, that's not real life. And even if it were, it wouldn't be healthy. Does that make sense? Sex, in my opinion, is something that can be very healthy, very beautiful, and a very important part of a romantic relationship. However, whenever we put it in the context of this person is an object to me, they are an object of my lust, and I am simply using them and seeking them and pursuing them to achieve sexual gratification.
So yeah, that's part of the issue though. Most people who are having schmecks aren't doing it because they're in a loving relationship, especially after the sexual revolution. Body autonomy, the sexual revolution, even abortion. Being pro-abortion is being pro-lustful sex. That's all it is. Most of the people who are having these abortions aren't in loving marriages and loving relationships. They're having sex with people who have short-term connections, and because they don't want to deal with the natural consequence of having sex with people, they are pro-abortion. They won't believe that you should be able to get rid of the natural consequence of having sex with people, and therefore then making the sex all about lust instead of about building a meaningful relationship with the person you love and creating a family. So being pro all of these things are also being pro lust. And when society is this freaked out, this is the natural consequence of a freaked out society. She's right. I agree with her on the lust argument, but it's very hard to make that argument in America when everything is just pro lust.
It removes, in my opinion, any possible benefit of sex in that relationship, which is another reason why I say to women and men in relationships, having a healthy sex life doesn't mean having sex more often. It means increasing your intimacy, increasing your romance, increasing your love and communication, and fixing all of these areas of the relationship.
Yeah.
And then a healthy sex life will become a result of those things improving in the relationship.
Yeah, tell that to all the men that are in sexless marriages. Men, you just need to romance more. Because when you're talking about romance, I'm assuming she's not talking about the women being more romantic. She's talking about the men having to be more romantic in order to deserve or in order to get higher levels of intimacy.
Or being fixed. However, when we look at these robot girlfriend, companions, sex slaves, whatever you want to call them, when we look at that, of course I see the comments of, and I already said, it's not going to be enough because it's not going to end there. It's not going to end with, okay, I have a robot now, I'm happy forever. This fulfills my lust, because lust is insatiable. Even a robot isn't going to feel that. Even a dog isn't going to feel that. Even, millions of videos online aren't going to feel that. How do we know? Because we see it. Because we see men having this access to millions of videos online and millions of different objects and things, whatever, to use in their personal life. And it still doesn't end, and it doesn't fix these problems. And if it did end, and if it did fix those problems or fix that addiction, it would have already been fixed. It would have already been recovered. But that's not how it works. Okay, so let me get to where I'm going with this really quick. So I saw in the comments of my last video a few men saying, well, isn't this what you guys wanted? You want us to leave you alone? Isn't this what you wanted? You should be happy.
Yeah, that's a good question.
If I saw, let's say the population is 50-50. It's not. It's like nowhere in the world is it 50-50 exactly. Let's say that we have women, we have men, half and half. If those men, so half of the population, those men, have an issue with I'm not saying this is how it is, I'm just speaking like hypothetically. Let's say half that population has a very strong, insidious desire to harm women, to rape women, or to inflict some form of violence or sexual violence onto women. Giving those men a replica of a woman to inflict that pain onto is not going to fix the root issue. Does that make sense?
Yeah, she's just using the same old argument where it's like men who play video games, or if boys play violent video games, they're going to become more violent in real life. This has been debunked forever. This was like early 2000s arguments for why GTA shouldn't be legal and all these different things. I know guys who hunt, and it doesn't mean that they want to go out and hunt humans. They hunt deers. Just because they hunt deers doesn't mean they want to go out and now start hunting humans. My mom used to play a game called Farmville on Facebook. She would spend real money growing her farm on Facebook. To this day, she doesn't have a real farm. So basically what I'm saying is this is an old argument that's been made a million times. It's just a way to demonize and to fearmonger. But essentially, these things never correlate to real life.
Fixing the root issue is us as a community, as a society, culture, looking at the men or whoever is in that position and saying, okay, why do you desire to inflict these various things on these women? Which again, people are going to say, well, it's just sex. It's not just sex. When you look at the porn that these men are consuming, the type of men that are interested in these robots, the type of men that are in the comment sections of those videos being incredibly degrading and dehumanizing and horrible towards women, towards anyone.
Oh, ma'am, have you seen the porn that women watch? Pornhub stats reveal women search more for hardcore genres than you might expect. With the increased availability of internet porn, women are becoming just as active on porn sites as men. This isn't just a guy problem. As shown on the first charts below, it turns out women were recorded as being 113% more likely to search for the term hardcore than men. And look at some of these genres. For women, lesbian, solo male, hardcore, rough, gangbang, bondage, double pin. Come on now, like look at how egregious it gets. And this is just what Pornhub has been showing us. As far as the statistics with women searching porn that's even more violent, and I'll let you do your own research on this topic. I think it's very dangerous to even talk about this sometimes, but there are women that look for very, very violent and egregious crimes and acts against women in the form of porn. So if you look those statistics up, you'll see who really are degenerate. Women can be just as degenerate when it comes to this stuff as men. So what does that say about women? I think that society is just freaked out. Men are freaked out, women are freaked out, and it's becoming an issue. I seen an article that said that 33%, so 1 in 3 now, of the people who visit these porn sites are women. So women are just as freaked out as men now. And if you're going to say that watching certain types of porn means that you're going to be a certain type of person, then you really have to look into what types of porn women choose to watch when they have the ability to watch it.
You realize that you look at the porn and you look at, okay, what are these men looking at online? What are the trends in pornography online? It is not just a naked woman to give you sexual gratification or a sex scene to give you sexual gratification. It is 90% of these videos depicting violence and aggression inflicted on women, pain inflicted on women, women crying, women being in very unhealthy and unnatural power dynamics.
Yeah, but the women are the ones that are searching for that by and large. Isn't that interesting?
Women being taken advantage of. 90% of pornography depicting non-consensual sex. 100% of it depicting unsafe sex. A lot of it depicting incestuous R-word. My point being, we shouldn't look at this problem in our society of these men and say, which by the way, I love men, I love women. I don't think men are hopeless. I don't think, I have faith and I have hope and I believe and I know because I do see good men. I see good men around me. I see good men in my community. And I know men have the potential to be loving, empathetic, caring, and compassionate people. But we have given them and enabled them by saying you are justified in your desires to harm women.
What?
And because it's biological and you can't help it, we're just going to give you everything as a substitute and hope it will fix the problem.
Yeah, she just completely made that up. Nobody's ever said that anybody's justified in harming women. Nobody's ever said that. She literally made that up.
But it doesn't. It makes it worse. Because then that conditions them further to dehumanize and objectify women in their everyday life. Okay? So again, we should look at this and say, okay, men, why is this happening? Right? Why are all of these videos that are spread all across the internet, what everyone is searching for, what everyone is using for sexual gratification, why is it depicting these heinous crimes against women? There's a saying in this anti-porn community that says, porn takes every type of crime against women and it turns it into a fetish and a fantasy. That is not normal. That is not okay. That is not acceptable. We should be concerned and we should be talking about it. So again, my point being, instead of saying, let's fix the issue by giving them a female substitute in terms of a robot, that's not going to fix the issue. It would just exacerbate it even more.
No proof for that, by the way.
Let's try to get to the root causes, address them where they are at, and try to work from the inside out to heal this issue that we are seeing in our society, relationships, marriages, and families and individuals. That is what we should be doing. We shouldn't be saying, how can we make a robot that these men can take out these very strange, scary, predatory, sexual fetishes and
it's just a vibrator with a face, to be honest. And I like the point that she made there as far as families and the connection between men and women that we naturally have. Now, if she led with that being the root cause for her concern, I would agree, because I do think that having this technology, we have an issue, not only a fertility issue, we have an issue with the amount of kids. We have obviously birth rate is on the decline, population collapse, all those things. But also we just have a lack of understanding between men and women where it seems like that we're not getting along with each other, and this robot isn't really going to change that. If anything, it's going to more isolate people. So if she led with that argument, it would make more sense. But to be honest, most of the guys who are going to be consuming this product are men that women don't want anyway. And for so long, women have been telling men that they don't want men around. The future is female. Men are disgusting. Men harm women. Well, now you have a place for all of those men to go and to have an AI bot or whatever it may be and leave all you women alone like you said you've been wanting. But the truth of the matter is this is more about power than it is anything else. But women want a monopoly on that power, and they feel like these AI robots threaten their monopoly on the sexual control that they have over men.
And fantasies on. Does that make sense? And it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. We are at this point in a society where we laugh at men wanting to get help. We look at men and say, what do you mean this is the most normal thing in the world? Looking at porn, using pornography, seeking sexual gratification outside of your relationship, living in lust is normal and healthy. But then we turn around and we see these men, hundreds of thousands of them online, being so sexually excited at the thought of being able to have sex with a robot. How do we not correlate between the two and understand there is an issue here? We aren't fixing it. We are making it much, much worse.
I actually agree with her conclusion. I just don't agree with the part where she's trying to fearmonger by making it seem like this is going to make men more violent towards women. The issue isn't men being violent towards women. The issue is being freaked out. The issue is society being overly freaked out, and what we're seeing is the natural consequences of that. When you look at the necessity for abortion or even wanting abortion to be legal, that's because you live out in a freaked out society. When you look at single motherhood, That's freaked out society. When you look at the rates of divorce, that's due to a freaked out society. All of these things that we, kids being exposed to pornography at an earlier age, all of these are symptoms of freaked out societies. And this is the natural consequence and conclusion to it. And so if you are pro all those other things, or you cheer for all those other things, and then you're against this, I have to question, why are you against this? Unless it's strictly about power, because you're for all those other things that creates this as the natural consequence. So to me, it just seems like this is the end of a freaked out society. This is the conclusion that you get to. Less marriages, higher divorce rates, more children being born out of wedlock, people protesting in the streets to make it legal for abortions. All these things are a consequence of freaked out societies. And until you deal with the level of freaky in this country, until you end the freak apocalypse, this is just going to get worse and worse. Let me know in the comments below if this video was a W or a L, and give me the HBO special as a help brother out special. Hit the like and the subscribe button for more content. Till next time.